2 weeks later, we're back up here at the top of Storey Burn, and we're going to walk down and go over to standard grade, and then we're going to hike standard grade down to Elk Creek. We've been wanting to do this hike for a couple of years. It's a railroad grade to an old road type of hike, but it's great. Excuse me. And we figure about 12 miles. And 2 weeks ago when we were here, this is snow, and it was a no-go kind of thing because we didn't have snowshoes with us. Today we have our snowshoes in the truck, and we're going to leave them in the truck and gamble that we don't need them. But then if you look back at my YouTube video from I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, about two idiots. Well, they make it to Idiotville, and we left the snowshoes in the vehicles, and we ended up post hauling for about 5 miles, we figured. So, you know, we don't have too good a track record leaving the snowshoes behind. This is one of those hikes where the trail crew did a nice job of clearing the trail so you don't have to run into, brush and stuff on the trail. We're just dropping down. I don't think we're on railroad grade yet, but right in here is where we hit railroad grade, and then we'll be tying to standard grade that comes up the hill. That's where standard grade comes up the hill from the old railroad down at the bottom and heads on out this way. It's this old logging railroad from a long time ago. Yeah, it's a road now, but there's places you can still find railroad iron and that kind of stuff up here. The rails and whatnot. A lot of stuff is buried. Because a lot of times they just bury stuff, back in the days, that kind of thing. Especially at the end of World War II, with all the scrap metal from the military and all that stuff hitting the market. And so a lot of times they just buried stuff with and left it. There's places in the county where you drive on old railroad grades, but when there's a hole or something, you'll find where the old rails are still there because they just went over top the old railroad bed, rails and all. Larch Mountain is back up that way, but you don't take that center road. You got to go up a couple different ways. We're here looking off to the south. Now, the standard grade logging camp was up in here somewhere, and I have a couple sets of maps. Some maps show it back at that junction back there with Storey Burn, and there's maps that show it here. But here you have some water pipe and things like that are still in here that are pretty old. So it's hard to say if it was here or back there, but just neat country up here. And a lot of history with all the railroad stuff. So we're heading out this way. We're gonna be walking up the road. We're gonna bypass the old lookout, the Blue Lake Lookout, and dropping down into Elk Creek. But it's a ways to go yet. Right now we're on private timberland. They do allow people to come through, but you got to follow their rules. And basically, you don't drive, you can walk, and then you don't stay overnight. And you take care of the place. And we're going to be on this for a little bit, then we're going to shift over to where we're on. Last little bit we'll be on state forest land. But it's really kind of cool country up here. A lot of history. And that's kind of my thing, is this logging railroad history on the west just disappeared. And it would sure be nice if we could, save some of that, because there was so much, and it led to the development of this whole area. Looking out to the north, and looking out there, we're getting into a lot of public land, the Oregon Department of Forestry land. You can see the change in the ownership and the change in the management. But I do appreciate Hampton letting people, hike up here and stuff. They've been really good about that, and they're really good about working with the public. And we always have to make sure that we don't violate that trust with them. So Mike, what is this stuff on here?
That is water in its solid state.
Solid state or water?
Yeah, it's commonly known as, in this case, snow.
Oh, I don't want to have to wade through 5 miles of that stuff up to my knees.
It would be ditto for me.
Okay, we got this stuff here. Okay, we have this stuff here. And, oh no, I didn't bring my snowshoes. The concern that you have up here in the Coast Range is you'll come around corners in areas that have been shaded for a long time, and you can have several feet of snow, actually. I've had vehicles get stuck in that kind of stuff. I just hope we don't get into sheets of it. That road there is one that goes up to Blue Lake Lookout. It's still kind of a cool place to go. We're here at the junction, and at this junction we're going to be going to the left. And I'm hoping that it's not so shaded that there's a lot of snow. I know when we get out there way, so it'll be open. This is what you call pre-commercial thinning. They go into the stand when it gets a certain size, and then you go through and cull out a bunch of the trees, and then the trees that are left grow better, grow faster, and you wind up with a better product. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a fence up there, and the only thing I can think of is might be a test site. I know the public agencies will create test sites where they'll put some trees out and see how they grow, and they protect them with the fence from animals and stuff. I don't know if that's what that is. It's the only thing I can think of right now.
Hey, there you go. There's some artifacts.
There's an artifact there. An old rail. And we came through here some years ago, and they'd done some culvert work. You can see the old culverts there, and that rail was there. That rail's there still. And there's other places you'll find rails and stuff. A lot of times they kind of get buried in the bank, but it's old artifacts from the old steam engines and steam logging. All right, we're getting close to the edge of the private and into the ODF land here, and this shows you this stuff is rugged, this country. I've hiked around in it, and there's a reason why, like when you're hunting, you find old cat roads and stuff, and you'll find your animals on those a lot of the times, because this is just nasty ground. And you got to be careful if you go down over the sides in here, because you can see there's cliffs and all kinds of stuff. We took a wrong turn back at Albuquerque, to quote Bugs Bunny. And we ended up going up that hill, probably about a half of that hill, to get to the top, to the road again. But we're getting close to the end of the private land, and going to be heading down Elk Creek here in just a little bit. Okay, we're going to be heading down that way. And pretty sure we're going out that way. Really all you need to do is follow these signs. EMS, the Kings Mountain Trail. And it'll get you up through here. We made the one mistake, and actually the sign was there. But I just thought that the map was wrong again, and we've run into that a few times, but the map was right, and we ended up going up that little hill through the trees. We're walking down the old road, and definitely different than what we've been going through. Got timber cover here. Be pretty drippy on a wet day, but today hasn't been too bad. It rained pretty hard at my house this morning on the coast, and I'm not sure what it did up here, but it hasn't been too bad at all. Well, we've made it down to the Elk Creek Trail. And Kings Mountain Trail is 0.8 mile that way. And we're heading down here. Across the river there, or the creek rather, right across the creek, there's the bridge for Idiot Creek Trail. They take it out every year, and then they put it back in. That way it doesn't get washed out in the floods.